Hey everyone, Crazy Jimmy here. I've got a cool little video, probably a short one, but a cool one. Today we're going to do my top 5 songs of all time, and this would be my top 5, so not necessarily like what you see on Rolling Stone or the consensus top 5. This is just based on my top 5 from my vinyl collection. Obviously, I have to own it on vinyl. And then I'm going to talk about some really great copies of that you want to own of the number one song on the list. So again, this is I'm really interested to hear what your top 5 is. So definitely leave it down below in the comments for me. I would appreciate that. But this is strictly this is how I feel, based on the years of music I've listened to, and all the songs I've heard, all the artists I've heard over the years. I'm almost, I'm not going to give you my age, but I'm in my late 50s. I was born in the 60s, so I got a pretty good, well-rounded listen and look into what's been done. Obviously, I haven't heard everything. Obviously, there's songs out there that I've yet to discover. And this list changes. It really does. Now, the number one on my list has never changed. So that's the good news. So, but why don't we jump right into it with the one that just missed the top 5 at number 6. I know this is a top 5, but and that would be a song off of Big Star's Radio City called September Girls. And, September Girls to me is a song I can listen to every day, all day, and never get sick of. I have not gotten sick of it yet. I've heard it 1,000 times, and I still love it every time I hear it. Just a great, it's a perfect power pop song. Perfect. Right down to the guitar solo, right down to the ending. Everything about it is just perfect, in my opinion. And, some of you may wonder, well, you're going to pick a Big Star song. What happened to 13? 13 is probably better, but 13 is great. 13 is a great song. It would be in my top 100 for sure. But something about September Girls and the influence it had on 90s indie rock and what came after it, and just undeniable. So, number 6, honorable mention. Just barely missed the top 5. Cool little press kit in this one. This is an original sealed. I know we are here to show vinyl as well, so that's what I'm doing. And the best version I've ever heard of September Girls 2 is on this original. So I've heard every repress out there. I've yet to hear one that topped the original for sound quality. All right, next up is number 5 on this list. Number 5. And that would be The Kiss from Judee Sill. I want to say this is 1973. Sorry for the glare. I'll pop this out. But if you've never heard of Judee Sill, she is, there's a wonderful documentary out on her that's been out, was put out a few years back. But she was the first artist signed by David Geffen to Asylum Records. The very first. She was also part of the Laurel Canyon scene. She lived in Laurel Canyon. And here is the front cover without the glare. And here is the inside. And it's got cool lyrics in here, like a booklet that is stapled in. Let me show you a little of that. But yeah, this is an original, and man, these originals sound phenomenal. They were recorded really, really, really well. But yeah, like I said, Judee Sill. Now, she often gets compared to like Laura Nyro, Joni Mitchell, Carole King, that lot. You know what? To me, she's more like a female Brian Wilson. That is a better, I think that is what she is. The music is Bach inspired, or Bach inspired. Is it Bach or Bach? I don't know. I always get a kick out of that though, but very inspired by Bach. A lot of the chord changes, a lot of what she does here is inspired by classical, but this is a classical pop folk album. And you'll see what I mean. If you've never heard The Kiss, check it out. Brian Wilson's going to be ringing in your ear for sure, just with female vocals and beautiful female vocals, double tracked. She did all the conducting on this album, all the orchestra conducting and all the string arrangements were done by Judy herself. Just brilliant, brilliant, brilliant artist. Very much on the level of Brian Wilson for the time that she was alive. She did overdose by accident. It wasn't a suicide by all accounts in 1979. So she really didn't live long. I think she passed away in her mid-30s. Really sad, tragic story. She had so much more to give. She actually had a third album in the can. All the demos were done, but it never got done completely. So, but yeah, check out The Kiss by Judy Still if you've never heard it. Listen to it a few times and let me know what you think if you've never heard it. Number 4 on my list is Our House by Crosby, Stills, Nash. Really, Graham Nash wrote it. And it's on this album here. And everyone's seen this album, Deja Vu, just phenomenal. Atlantic Records. Sound quality's also phenomenal on this. It's the definitive way to hear Our House. Completely analog, 100%, no digital step. So avoid a lot of those represses that just sound like crap. And some of the remastered versions of this album and that song are just not worthy. But Our House just really does it for me. Graham Nash wrote it while he was with Joni Mitchell. And, they just got into a house, and all the lyrics in there are based on what he was seeing around him with the vase and the two cats and all that. It was just completely, what do they call them, autobiographical, based on, their relationship at that time at Laurel Canyon. Just a beautiful song. Everything about it is perfect to me. And it's I consider a wonderful pop song. And I can't get enough of it. I can listen to it 100 times and I tear up every time I listen to it. So that is number 3. Number 4. Number 3 on my list is, on this album, Carole King's Tapestry. This album has so much on it. You could pull so much off of this, like Natural Woman, It's Too Late. This is like a greatest hits. But the number 3 greatest of all time is on this album is You've Got a Friend, for me. Another song I just gets me every time. A lot of these songs bring me back to my childhood. I'm noticing that. Not all of them. Big Stars doesn't bring me back to those memories. But Our House does. The Kiss doesn't. Our House does. You Got a Friend certainly does. I heard James Taylor's version before I heard Carole King's, but James Taylor plays acoustic guitar on the original version, which is on Tapestry. This is the definitive version, not James Taylor's version. Although I love James Taylor's version, this is the definitive. The definitive pressing to own. Now, I'm going to throw you a curveball. This original pressing here is excellent, but, and you'll have an original. You got to have the O'Day 70 on the labels, which is down there. And then you've got to have the 3 stripes, not 4 stripes. So 1, 2, 3 silver stripes with the 2 white ones in the middle. That is an original there. The repress that came after it has 4, and it's missing that O'Day 70. They changed it. This is an original Monarch pressing. Now, the best pressing I've ever heard of this is actually I think it's a late 70s, early 80s. I should have pulled it because I have it. It's a PC. I should have pulled it, and I apologize. But it's the repress from like the late 70s, all analog. But it is, I think it's widely considered now to be the best pressing of this. It's also anytime Better Records, Tom Port from Better Records has had a hot stamper on his website. I heard that it's always the repress from the late 70s. Maybe it's like early 80s, 1980, 81, I forgot. But there's something very special and magical about that pressing. I certainly apologize that I don't have it out. Shame on me. But that is the one to own. Just magical. But yeah, You've Got a Friend is a magical song. I'm not always a big lyric guy, but I'm all about melody and what it elicits from me for emotions. But the lyrics on You Got a Friend also elicit these major emotions. So that's why it's number 3 on this list. Number 2, and this is a bit of a surprise, and this actually snuck up on me when I first heard it. So, and now it's number 2 on my list, which is amazing. And it's called Brave Awakenings by Terry Reid. And some of you are probably like jaws open. What? Huh? I probably never even heard it. Some of you probably have. But what a terrible album cover. 1976, Brave Awakenings. It was actually in that Rob Zombie movie. I forgot the name of it. But what a song. Again, a song that elicits major tears out of me. It's on this ABC Bullseye label. Brave Awakenings is like an Americana kind of. It definitely has a country touch to it, but it's not a country song. Very much Americana, and it's just first of all, his vocals are phenomenal. The lyrics are amazing. The song melody is amazing. It's like a 5 or 6 minute song, and I never get sick of it. If you haven't heard Brave Awakenings from Terry Reid's, from this album, Seed of Memory by Terry Reid, and you have to. And by the way, this is the definitive pressing, is the original pressing. Definitive. No doubt about it. This thing was recorded impeccably. I think this was a Doug Sax cut. You're not going to better the original pressing on this, promise you. I've even heard the UK original, and the UK original is excellent, but it's not as good as the US. And, I can show you what I'm talking about. This is, I think it's on the back here. That's the original UK on this black ABC. Not as impressive as the American US original. This is the one you want to own. So check out Brave Awakenings, just a phenomenal, like, Americana song. And those of you who didn't know, Terry Reid was supposed to be the original Robert Plant. He was going to be Led Zeppelin's lead singer, but he couldn't. He was in a contract with the record company and as a solo artist, and he didn't want to get out of it. He wanted to continue as a solo artist. So he recommended Robert Plant. He's an Englishman as well. He recommended Robert Plant, and the rest was history. Robert Plant, Jimmy Page, John Bonham, and Jerry Paul. Is it Jerry Paul Jones? I'm sorry if I screwed that up, but John Paul Jones got together and, created Led Zeppelin. And there's a great Led Zeppelin documentary out there too you might want to check out. But Terry Reid's vocals are, every bit as good as Plant's. But, if he could have been the lead singer of Led Zeppelin and could have made a ton of money. And unfortunately, his solo career just didn't do it for him like Led Zeppelin. But, hey, it is what it is. He wrote a top 2 song for me of all time, Brave Awakenings. All right, the number 1 song, and I'm going to show you the best pressing, in my opinion, in mono and in stereo, and that is the Beach Boys' God Only Knows. This has been my number 1 song forever. As far back as I can remember, it hasn't changed, and I've heard it 1,000 times. It's also Paul McCartney's favorite song. Thinks it's the best song in the world. Thinks it's the greatest song ever written. It's a simple song when you hear it, but it's so technical when you actually break it down. It's classical pop at its finest, similar to what Judy Sill did on The Kiss years later. But yeah, this is, Bach related, but also just so many found sounds in there. Brian Wilson was doing things back in 66 that no one else was doing. And it can be heard in that song where he's plucking the piano strings and And on this album alone, there's children's bells. There's all kinds of like toy instruments and stuff, barking dogs and trains. I can go on, but just amazing. So God Only Knows will never be replaced for me, will always be my number one song, my number one greatest song ever written. And now what you're interested in is the best sounding stereo pressing of this and the best sounding mono I've ever heard. And I've heard a ton of them. I've heard pressings from Holland. I've heard from Netherlands. I've heard them from UK. I've heard them from all over. I've heard them from different years. I've heard the modern represses, the modern remastered, the original, all of it. The best stereo pressing, and I hate to say this because I really despise modern represses. I just do, for many different reasons, mostly because I think they're deceptive. And they always almost have they always have like one digital step in there, and they say, oh, it's 100% analog, and they have a play on words with it. They're not all like that. There's a lot that are all AAA, and there's plenty that sound great. I don't want to bash on all of them, and this is certainly not one of them I'm going to bash on. This is Analog Productions, double 45 RPM, and this is the best stereo I've ever heard, bar none. So it's not even close, which was surprising to me because I'm not even a fan of Analog Productions work. A lot of it sounds veiled to me, sounds digital to me, especially MoFi pressings. And it's been uncovered that a lot of them are digital anyways, but even the ones that are not digital, just they have this, they'll remaster things in a way where the bass is pumped up, the treble's pumped up, the mid-range is pumped down. They just, I don't know. I'm also not a Kevin Gray, Bellman, all those guys. You know what? Retire, please. Maybe back in the day, but I don't know. I'm probably going to elicit a lot of hate, but I'm just not a modern repress guy. Just not. Something about my ears, it just doesn't do anything for the originals. There's bad ones there too. Trust me, you just got to wade through them. Great records, great sounding records are like great fine wine. No two wines are the same, and no two records are the same. You can get 40 original pressings of this Terry Reid album, 40 original, all with the same stamper, and they're all going to sound different. It's crazy. But anyways, this stereo, Analog Productions, double 45, it comes in and out of print here and there. I think it's out of print now, and it's commanding a ton of money, but it does come in and out of print occasionally. But yeah, this is the one, double 45, Analog Productions. Beautiful packaging, of course. That's the one thing they do really well is the packaging. And then the best mono version I ever heard, and it's not Analog Productions, it's not any of the represses. This may not surprise you, because actually it's probably well known online, is this pressing. They're both the same. So the twofer, the Pet Sounds that comes in this twofer package, and this is a white label promo, the Pet Sounds in here is mono, 100% analog from the tapes. Boy, does it sound amazing. This is the best mono, has not been bested for me. And I've heard probably 50 to 60 different pressings of all different years, makes and models. The mono Pet Sounds in here, and they're all mono from my understanding. So when you get a twofer, check out that clean, look for a clean Pet Sounds. That cannot be bested. And by the way, you're probably wondering, what's this, different cover, everything. It's the same exact pressing here as what's in here. I just wanted to have this alternative cover, which I find cool. So alternative cover, same mono pressing. Again, yeah, they sound a hair a little different because that's the way it is. The pressing in here is a little better than this one, but they're both the best mono versions of this. If you're looking for a mono version of this, get the 1973 repress. The original pressings of Pet Sounds are not great. I don't think I've ever heard a good one. It's this I hope I got the year right, 1973, that came in the twofer, but it also came as a single LP like this as well. That's the one you want to own for Pet Sounds, and I think everyone should own this record in their collection. But But that's my top 5. So honorable mention, September Girls at number 6. Number 5, Judy Sill, The Kiss. Number 4, if I remember, Our House by Crosby, Stills, Nash. Number 3 is You've Got a Friend by Carole King. Number 2, Brave Awakenings by Terry Reid. And number 1, God Only Knows by the Beach Boys, Brian Wilson. Thanks for watching. Talk to you later.